Well, as they say, in for a dime, in for a dollar. While we're here, we might as well make the most of it, right? See what kind of stuff we can gather. All these crystals laying around. They seem to be netting lots of rings and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So I guess if up to this point you haven't found that one ring that you're looking for, this would be a pretty good bet that you would find it here. Also notice between the mirrors laying around and these memories that we return to the little ghosties hidden here and there, that we're getting extra attribute points. Do a little rampage here. Now that I'm back here putting the finishing touches on the last of this series and stuff, more and more I'm really feeling inclined to share a I guess you could call it a Dragon Reaver build, essentially. This one was more of a pure berserker. We didn't lean towards, you know, Dragon Rage and stuff like that. If I mentioned before, before really looking into it, I saw stamina was going to be an issue with the Reaver overall, because it requires what's this? Is this like a puzzle? Cool looking device. Okay, well that's gonna take a second to figure out, at least for the simple-minded such as myself. Alright, we'll come back to that in a second. I want to finish exploring up here up top. But I noticed stamina was going to be an issue. Well, I found what I believe is a solution for that. I'm confident enough to start a whole other character and get up to that point and provide that build. The only problem with it is the Dragon Reaver build. To squeeze the most that you can out of it, it's essentially a late game build. Which I guess is cool in a way, because it kind of requires you to play one way leading up to that point, and then once you get it, to kind of alter your play style and lean totally towards it. But there's something to be said for it, is you have to really make it an awesome style build. Anyway, I did finally figure this out. I'll show you the order that I uncovered here. Essentially, to get the most out of it, from what I see anyway, and I'll share my strategy, my build with it, if it's in interest you guys. Matter of fact, I'll wait for a little feedback to see. I mean, because that's investing some hours to get a character back up there specifically just for a build video. Although it might be cool, might find some cool things to make some videos about along the way. But I'd primarily be interested in doing a build video if it interests anybody else. That once you devote yourself completely to Dragon Rage as being, it even says in the description of the ability, it says it's the only way to fight. Okay, and that's kind of a hint, is that if you want to get the most out of it, you have to invest yourself completely into it. And there's a way to configure the skill trees to get it to where stamina really isn't an issue, health loss really isn't even an issue. But several things come into this. It's not just one or two things. There's several strategies or things involved in really pulling quite a bit out of that build. As a matter of fact, you know what? I just talked myself into it. Even if no one's interested necessarily, I'm just going to do it for giggles. I've seen some build videos are popular. Many of them I felt were not really thought out. Really not factoring in other things you could do, not just with your party or with your team in mind, but things you could do considering what the game gives you to work with and stuff, as far as, doing damage and making the build playable, functional, having survivability or whatever. I don't know. I've seen some things where each to their own opinion, but some stuff where I'm like, if you tweaked a few things, maybe you could, double your DPS type thing, that type of stuff. When I see some builds, and I'm like, I think there might be a way to improve that. I'm by no means an authority on the subject, but I think I come up with some decent ideas sometimes. I think I have at least a relatively decent knowledge of the Dragon Age combat mechanics. as far as that goes. So, you know, also, I guess it's easy to get sidetracked. When you're in a room full of shiny nickels, it's hard not to be a cat and go, ooh, look at that over there. But wait, look at this over here, and just, you know, go off and do different stuff. Because it's fun, you know, all gaming is fun. But I think I'll concentrate on Dragon Age 2, which is already in the works. We should see that here really shortly. For anyone that's not hyped for that, I'm hoping to get somebody. If just one person, then I've done my job. It's kind of how I'm thinking. But to get at least one person hyped for it, and to maybe look at that game with a fresh set of eyes, and appreciate it for just the magnificent piece of work that it is. You know, if you can look past the real and imagined shortcomings of that game, then it has a lot to offer. It's amazing. And considering how short the development time was, which is a major reason for some of the criticisms it has received. Short development time, and then EA's public policy with the people that were there at the time, and how they dealt with fan opinion and fan criticism and stuff, the way they came back. I get the sense in hindsight is essentially it was some big cheese, big whiz guys that already got their money. They squeezed all the money they could out of everybody through their pretty shady policies and how they dealt with game developers and stuff like that, and the way, you know, their whole the whole thing is just leaves a bad taste, makes you want to take a shower. But it seems like a lot of those bigwigs were on their way out the door, okay, and the game developers themselves being really kind of hogtied. In other words, if you only give me this to work with and this amount of time to work in, if I need twice as much time and I need twice the resources and I only have half of that, what can I get out of that? And so what they came up with Dragon Age 2 is to me, it's mind-boggling. The numbers, the way the combat works, the system, and the different branches of things you can do. So many different builds in a... I'm not even going to say a limited skill tree, because they really give you a lot of different skills and combinations and hidden things to work with that when you put 2 and 2 together, sometimes you can come up with all kinds of crazy numbers. I mean, really cool stuff. And if they only had half the development time and half the resources, and what EA expected from them was essentially get us twice the money for half the work and half the time, you know, and I can get that's the way they kind of used to be. Not so much now. And I think Inquisition is a proof of that. It was extended in development. Matter of fact, it took a little longer than what people thought. There were delays, there were setbacks. They were like, it's not quite ready. We're not gonna give it to you guys until we think it's, you know, it's worth playing type thing. And I respect that. But that's, you know, it's new people. But when Dragon Age 2 was coming out, I think some of the bigwigs knew they were on their way out the door. They'd made their money, they took their profits, took their money and run type of deal. I think that's kind of the way they were thinking. So when they came across to the public, when the public said, hey, wait, you kind of shit on us with this a little bit, they kind of said, well, screw you, we got your money, what are you going to do about it? That's really the message they sent. And, you know, I'm just, you know, paraphrasing in a major way, but that's the gist that I got. That's the sense I got. You know, and if that's not what they said, but that's still the message I received based on what they said, then it doesn't really matter, because public perception of your product is really the key there. Whether you're, you know, sometimes bad products sell really well just because they're perceived in a good way. A mediocre beer becomes a top-selling beer simply because of the advertising and what it's, you know, the stigma surrounding it. You know, you're cool if you drink this beer. You're cool if you smoke this brand of cigarette. In fact, I'm going to start smoking even though I know it's going to kill me just because these cigarettes seem cool. I mean, that perception is a powerful tool in advertising. That's just common sense. I know I'm stating the obvious. Well, when your public relations people come back after you, you know, you essentially shortchange them, or at least that's how people felt. They got shortchanged with Dragon Age 2. And you basically say, well, screw you, we got your money anyway. We knew you'd buy it just because you're a fan of Dragon Age. And if you don't like that, well, what? You make me give you a refund. And people said, I think they lost some of their fan base with that. Or embittered a major portion of their fan base. And I see that into where it's impossible in that light, and I get this, it's impossible in that light to look at this game in a good light. In fact, I'm not talking about Inquisition, I'm talking about Dragon Age 2. It's impossible to see it in a light that it could be seen in my opinion, simply because of the way they dealt with the consumer, which is us, the fans, the ones who were loyal and we felt betrayed, the ones who were devoted to Dragon Age, and we just felt crapped on by the very people we were relying on to give us that next sequel that was going to just make us just go wow in our britches, you know, like, oh my god, this is the best thing that ever happened in the whole universe, and then people felt let down. Now, that's not me personally. I saw past that, forget the public perception. I was like, you know, take this game for what it's worth. Okay, well, so they copy and pasted some maps. So they kept the explorable area kind of limited, right? Based on time restraints. But what did they do with the story? What did they do with the narration? What did they do with the voice acting? What did they do with, you know, the writing and the story? How did they plug the pieces, you know, together between Origins and Inquisition? I think they did an amazing job in all that. I think it's fabulous. The voice acting it's not any worse than any of the other Inquisition or Mass Effect titles, in my opinion. It's just as good. It's different. It's not Origins, but it's not Inquisition either, and it's not Mass Effect 1. People criticize Mass Effect 3 from Mass Effect 2. Well, you know what? Some people play Mass Effect 2 and went back and criticized Mass Effect 1, and vice versa. They said, well, Mass Effect 2 sucks because it's not Mass Effect 1. And whatever, you know? They changed some things to keep it fresh while still keeping it the same, and that takes a certain level of genius in and of itself. And so they still managed to portray all that in Dragon Age 2, even with limited time and resources. So I'm impressed, and that's me, and I'm going to try to pass that along, and I'm going to defend it. And I'm going to stand on that. If I take some heat for it, well, whatever, you know. I'm willing to do that because I think it's a great game, and I'll stand on that. I'm going to share the things that I see as I go along. So it's not just a Let's Play for funds. For me, it's more of a justifying its existence. I mean, just, you know, giving it, standing up for it a little bit. Kind of like the neglected little brother who grows up to be a great person type of thing. You know, were you standing with them when times were bad? Right, that's when you know if you were devoted. When times get good, is if you stood with them all along when times were bad, type thing. All right, so with that type of mentality in mind, oh, look at that pure essence. I found out what that was for later, by the way. It gives you a 100% chance on a masterwork with a piece of gear, and that's pretty cool. I guess that's considered a major magic item, considering a dragon tooth only gives you like a 40% chance. So 100% chance, that means if you got that one piece of gear you want to make 10% sexier, you can guaranteed do it with that item. Anyway, so, alright, needless to say, we'll be getting into Dragon Age 2, and I'll be singing its praises. Just letting you know ahead of time. Oh, look at this guy, Predator Lips. Look at that big old homeboy got his back. Okay, well.
If you would, please tell Liliana. I am sorry. I failed you too.
Okay, so she gives up her spirit to keep the demon himself at bay, and this is I guess a presentation of the fear or terror with all the little spider minions that, you notice they paralyze you, paralyzed with fear, get the analogy there. But, okay, so this is just a manifestation of our greatest fears or something like that. All I know is we have to kick its ass. That's what it boils down to. Okay, now that gluttonous beast behind has fed off every fear. That's essentially how it has grown in power, and how it sustains its existence is feeding off of the fears. And it this is kind of clever. As a demon, it justifies its existence by saying, I feed off your fears and remove your fears from you. You should thank me. And therefore seeking worship, in a sense, is that, you know, anytime you're scared of something and somebody comes along to save you and remove that fear. I'm scared of being hungry, so someone comes and feeds you. They're going to get the benefit of your adoration for that, right? Well, this creature in its own mind thinks that by feeding off your fears and becoming this gluttonous evil monster, although it is characterized, it is what it eats, all right? So it is the culmination of all those things. And of course, what it would do at the end of the matter is come back in and be everything that you ever feared, I guess, is the whole idea. And so this is what they were going to bind to the Warden Commander. I guess she was a powerful enough mage for this. Or something along those lines. Oops. Oh, I took a, I think I took poison to the face. Glad, Vivian's doing her job. Like a friggin' champ over there, being beast healer. Support mage extraordinaire. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. I got so beside myself, I got airborne.
I grow fat on your fear.
Now he's got friends. Well, that's not cool. Can't stand these guys. Take that to the face, punk. I mean, oh, we got a couple here. Alright, well. Can't do much with Mighty Blow right there. With all my allies right here, I'd probably wipe the party with one shot. So, I think I'll, chill. Oh, this... Oh, you can grab this dude. This dude's lightweight. Alright, well, that's cool. Good to know.
You will die in agony.
You're making his petty threats from the sidelines. Okay. Is that one spider doing all that work on Vivian over there? One spider got everybody paralyzed, too. Alright, so that's it. That's the, what, terror demon or whatever? There's our way out. I think it's time to leave. We're not meant to be here. Okay, so Justinian didn't do anything for us but to hold the fear at bay for a second. Cleared the way so he could take care of his minions anyway.
Go! I'll cover you.
No, you were right. The Grey Wardens caused this. A warden must...
I fully agree with that.
Rebuild. That's your job. Corypheus is mine.
Shows you my hawk has a heart. I'm gonna go ahead and let my hawk stay just for, just to see. I don't think this will be my cannon, though.
Say goodbye to Varric for me.
Such a badass. That's what my hawk would do. But, I wouldn't suffer my hawk to do that because she's more valuable with us than away from us. Whereas, actually, Stroud is absolutely right. The Wardens caused this. They can go ahead and pay the price. I'm totally down with that. That's 100% legit. Good judgment right there. But, just for giggles, I left Hawk. See how this plays out. Because I know that's what my Hawk would do. But that's not what I would have my Hawk do. I would go the other way on another playthrough, but just to see. Let me check out this little cameo right here. Like that. Close that rift, look around. What's next?
With the nightmare banished, Corypheus lost both his warden mages and his demon army. But in the stories your soldiers will tell, their Inquisitor broke the spell with the Maker's blessing.
They came out of this alive. As far as I'm concerned, they can tell whatever stories they like.
And I suspect this will not be the last story they tell about you.
Inquisitor, the Archdemon flew off as soon as you disappeared. The Venatori Magister is unconscious but alive. Cullen thought you might wish to deal with him yourself.
Oh, I do.
As for the Wardens, those who weren't corrupted helped us fight the demons. We stand ready to help make up for Clarel's tragic mistake.
No, you're just tools.
Where's Hawk?
Wow.
Hawk died trying to fix what the Grey Wardens did.
Well...
Couldn't even say, well, shit.
Her blood is on their hands.
Yep.
Stroud,
You can accept that,
you're the
Stroud.
senior surviving Grey Warden. What do we do now?
Lead me. I need to be a tool. I can't be anything but a tool. Get out of my sight.
You leave. You didn't listen when I tried to stop you. You didn't listen to your own brothers, so listen now. By the authority of the Inquisition, you are banished from Southern Thedas.
No.
Stroud will oversee
Yes.
your return to the Warden Fortress at Weishaupt.
Yes, Your Worship.
Your Worship, I would stay, if you allow it, and continue our fight.
You haven't really been a warden all this time anyway.
I have never doubted your loyalty, Blackwall.
No problems with that, but,
Make her watch over your Inquisition. It has been an honor.
Stroud sent me one final report. He's on his way to Weishaupt. The Grey Wardens are gone as well. Adamant Fortress has been sealed. You dealt Corypheus a significant blow, Inquisitor.
The Grey Wardens are active in other nations. If we put out a discreet warning about the danger they pose...
We may improve our standing with nations already concerned about the Wardens. I will take the matter to Josephine. While you bested Corypheus here and at Halam Shiral, he himself was not present either time. We fear he is close to finding another way to enter the Fade. When you have a moment, Colin and Josephine are waiting in the war room with an update. What was she
Alright.
like?
uh-oh.
Divine Justinia, or her soul, or the spirit that took her form. I read your report. I know it isn't clear, but...
She seemed calm, serene even, and she guided us the whole way through.
That does sound like her.
She did ask me to tell you something, though. She said, "I'm sorry, I failed you too."
Oh. I should finish this before it slips my mind. Perhaps later we might discuss the matter further. Thank you.
Not sure exactly what that means, but, okay.
Inquisitor, Do you have a moment? What were you like before the anchor? Has it affected you? Changed you in any way? Your mind? Your morals? Your spirit?
I don't believe so.
Ah.
Why do you ask?
You show a wisdom I have not seen since my deepest journeys into the ancient memories of the Fade. You are not what I expected.
Sorry to disappoint.
It's not disappointing, it's... Most people are predictable. Qunari are savage creatures. Their ferocity held in check only by the rigid teachings of the Qun. But you have shown a subtlety in your actions. A wisdom that goes against everything I know of your people.
Well, you know, what can I say?
I'm just one part of this team, Solus. What about Cassandra or Liliana?
Cassandra separates matters of faith from those of the world. And she above all should understand how limited that is. Liliana has a brilliant mind, but her faith was damaged. To her, it is all a game of tactics now. But not you.
So what does this mean, Solus?
It means that I respect you deeply, Inquisitor. And I have disturbed you enough for one evening.
Oh, that wasn't a bit cryptic. Pull me off to the side for something, right? I don't know.
Adamant's influence continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful terms. To say nothing of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
Let me pull on a bigger boot here real quick. Give me a second.
I'm struggling to understand how judging you can make up for anything that happened.
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary, many officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground ye trod in your pathetic life.
Oh yeah? Well, your mom.
Living God. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
You might be surprised. It might not be glory that awaits you when I put this
Lord Aramond,
boot in your
any
ass.
protection you thought you had has apparently been withdrawn. You will die by my hand.
Petty actions. Truth lies in the next world.
Yep. You're going to be shocked when you see what it is. Tool. You're going to have big eyes like a raccoon in the headlights. Not knowing what the hell's going on. But I thought, but, yeah, check this out. This is for all the people that suffered at your hand, you piece of shit. Alright. That felt good. It's nice to do the right thing every once in a while, you know what I mean?
Another of the lingering pains of adamant, your worship. Sir Ruth is a senior warden of the Order. She was one of the many who slit the throat of another to bind a demon. She does not contest this. In fact, she surrendered to us. She requests no mercy. She wants the public justice of the headman's axe.
What you want isn't really of my concern here, lady.
Asking for no mercy seems redundant given the crime.
There is no excuse for my actions. I murdered another of the Order. That blood marks me more than the Blight ever could.
Accepting their actions while thralls of Corypheus, many treaties allow wardens any extreme if it opposes the Blight.
Well, people that wrote those treaties are idiots.
I can't use the greater good to justify my crimes, as if it would create a future I could be a part of. It is
I'm glad you
wrong
see that.
This broke me. I've done worse. With full sanction, I can do nothing except be an example of the cost.
I totally agree. I'm glad you see that. That's true repentance.
You feel your life is over? There's a place for such wardens. Sir Ruth, you'll go to the deep roads. Your death may be as quick as you choose.
This sends no message. This is just an end.
Any message coming from you isn't going to be a good one, lady, so I'm not concerned with that. But I'd rather, if you're going to put your sword to something, rather than our allies, go kill a few enemies on your way out the door. Do some good. Get yourself killed. You may be excused, you may be forgiven, but that doesn't excuse you from judgment. That's, believe it or not, two completely different things. One's a spiritual thing, the other one's a physical thing. You may be spiritually forgiven. Physically, you need to go.
Did I ever tell you about the time Hawk was on a Merchant Guild hit list? Hawk's uncle got into an investment scheme with a couple of merchant caste businessmen. They took a lot of people's coin in order to arrange the import of wandering hills from the Anderfells. A delicacy, I'm told. Their weird foreign foodstuffs arrived alive, and one of them, true to its name, wandered off in the middle of the night. Shit. The guild traced the shipments to Hawk's uncle, but as usual, he was so far in debt he couldn't see daylight. So they went after Hawk instead. They sent guys from the local carter to Hawk's estate one night. 5 big dusters, armed to the teeth. They kick in the door, and Hawk yells, "You're just in time," and drags them over to a game of Wicked Grace. They played 2 hands of cards before the city guard showed up to take them away. A couple of them became regulars in our weekly game. Hawk just had that effect on people.
Wow.
I always wanted to tell that one. Thanks. I guess I've got some letters to write. Isabella should know. Excuse me.
And that's how you write a damn video game. That's how you write. Alright, man. That's definitely not going to be my canon. Needless to say, Hawk would do much better resurrecting the Wardens if anyone could. Come to think of it. I don't know if that's in the works. But thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button over my head. Till later, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.